We are committed to keeping your home cozy and worry-free this holiday season. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free. Offer good with approved credit. Some restrictions apply. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Achillio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company. Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
And ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you, I love you. We appreciate you. The Playbook with the great William Pattison is on the way next for the radio listener. I love you. I appreciate you. It's incredible. Take it away, and we're going to sit here and talk about it on our own overtime.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
I love my man.
And here we go, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you listening along with us on this Wednesday from Knoxville, Tennessee, and we've got plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including the latest on National Signing Day, as this is early National Signing Day today, and Tennessee's already had 3 of their 5-star prospects, 5-star recruits sign the dotted line this morning. That is Faison Brandon, Tristan Keys, a.k.a. TK, as he's now going by as well, TK Keys, and Gabriel Osinda. All 3 of those guys signed the dotted line. We'll tell you a couple of guys to watch for, some possible flip candidates, and then also a guy that is currently committed to Tennessee but might not end up with the Volunteers. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll also have our Best Bets Look Ahead presented by VIP Play. And then in hour number 2, we'll do our contending questions, as we always do on Wednesdays, getting ready for conference championship weekend in college football. And then we'll continue those bubble teams debate like we had yesterday. It was Miami and Notre Dame. Today, we'll talk about if Alabama and BYU are solidified in the 12-team playoff heading into conference championship weekend, regardless of their outcomes. But we'll begin today with Tennessee falling at Syracuse last night in basketball, and a disappointing result after Tennessee was a 7.5-point favorite walking into that one. Syracuse down a couple of their key members, and it was a sloppy, ugly game for Tennessee. We'll talk about that here in just a bit. But first, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Brett. Brett, how are you?
Doing well. Yeah, it was a tough game last night, but we're doing well today. Ready to talk about it all.
And then Garrett, how about you? Happy to have you back.
Yeah, doing good. Tried to get through that eye-gouging performance last night on the offensive side of the ball for Tennessee, which we're going to get into. That was not a fun game to watch, but yeah, as you said, a lot of stuff going on with National Signing Day today. A couple of new coaching hires in the college football world, so should be an exciting news day in the college sports world.
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of action across the country. We'll talk about that National Signing Day here in just a bit. We'll get to that Tennessee hoops result last night. Jackson in as well. He had a little bit of car trouble on Monday, but glad to hear you got that resolved and happy to have you back.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm in some uncharted territories for my football teams the last couple of years. Both my teams are not looking to make the playoffs this year, which I know Tennessee outside of last year, not really a common thing, but the Chiefs, I don't know, I got pretty used to just making the playoffs every year. This is kind of weird.
Yeah, that is true. Kansas City right now in a tough spot. They lost on Thanksgiving to the Cowboys, and when you look at that AFC wild card, you've got some teams that just keep on winning. One of those in Duval County. But yeah, I will say that, that is tough. It's something to have to, I don't know, I guess relearn not being one of the top teams in the NFL. I'd still say, though, if the Chiefs make the postseason, that they'd still have a pretty good shot of making it back to the Super Bowl. We all know how they perform when the lights are the brightest. But we'll switch over to Tennessee basketball to begin today, as the lights were pretty bright last night at the JMA Wireless Dome, and things did not go well for Tennessee as Syracuse squeezes the Big Orange as Tennessee falls 62-60 Tuesday night at Syracuse. And junior forward Jalen Carey paced all scorers for number 13 Tennessee. And that now drops to 7-2 on the season. Back-to-back losses for this squad. And Carey did have a career-high 22 points in the second consecutive ACC-SEC challenge between the two schools, but it was not enough to overcome a multitude of mistakes. And we'll dive into the takeaways. And for me, I just thought in the first half period, just the way the game felt, it just was kind of boring. I don't know, like, I wasn't a huge fan of the announcers. The crowd wasn't as into it as I had suspected. I know it was snowing and probably a lot of people arriving a little bit late, but it just kind of felt like a dead environment early, and Tennessee wasn't really able to add much fun to the action either. A multitude of turnovers, some bad defensive lapses. Jacoby Gillespie was not the player that we saw go up against Rutgers, and the guy we have grown to know over the last couple of weeks of early season action. And Nate Ament kind of got bullied in this one, kind of similar to what he looked like in the second half against Kansas. Just honestly, it was what you looked like against Kansas last night. Just out of sync, out of touch defensively. You allowed a couple of really big fast break opportunities for Syracuse, even within, the final 5-10 seconds of the shot clock. Syracuse was able to find their way to the cup or find an open shot. Was not the same defense that we saw Tennessee have against Houston. So a very concerning performance overall for Tennessee, and I think it continues to highlight some of the bigger issues of this team that I think we could watch unfold throughout the rest of the season if there is not a fix made. And last night was a very, very concerning loss. Garrett, beginning with you, your takeaways from Tennessee and Syracuse last night.
Yeah, it was ugly. It seemed like Jalen Carey was really the only player that got off the plane to play offense. As you said, the other two star scorers at Ament and Gillespie did not look good. Multiple air balls from Gillespie. I think Ament had an air ball. Seems like Gillespie shot a lot of air balls this season to me, which is something that you don't really see from a good shooter usually. He kind of seems like a more high arcing shot, I feel like, than most shooters. It just comes up woefully short sometimes. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, you let him get out and ahead, fast break a couple times, but still, I mean, if they score 62 points, you should be able to score more than that. The offense was just awful. And even Jalen Carey, who had the most points, 22 points. I mean, even he had a couple offensive turnovers where he dropped his shoulder and they called an offensive foul, and Syracuse got the ball back. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty concerning, especially just scoring droughts that you went on for minutes at a time. Free throw shooting at the beginning of the game was a little bit questionable. You didn't hardly make any 3-pointers the entire game, other than a couple, at the middle of the first half. But it just didn't seem like there was a whole lot of energy. I mean, Barnes was kind of sitting on the bench a lot in the second half. It seemed like every time they panned to him, his hand was his face was in his hand palm. Just not happy. So hopefully they can bounce back. But you have two teams that you're playing in the next week that are significantly better than Syracuse. So not good.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll talk about Illinois and Louisville, the next two teams on deck for Tennessee here in just a bit. But you mentioned foul trouble. Jalen Carey got in that. Nate Ament had some issues with the fouls as well. 3-point shooting absent last night, and Syracuse was able to knock in a couple of timely ones. So some good takeaways there. Brett, your takeaways from last night.
I don't even know what to say about last night. That was bad as it gets, and it's very concerning. I don't even know where to begin. The guard play is just horrendous. I mean, I don't know. And the Nate Ament thing, we can talk more about him. His struggles continue. Just a poor performance. Again, you don't have any guards that can make a play, and Syracuse just made it life difficult for Gillespie. Somebody else is going to have to step up on the perimeter. I don't know who it's going to be. So, yeah, I mean, Carey, again, we spoke on him. He's really upped his game in the last 3 games, especially. And, yeah, he's going to need some help pretty quickly, or this season's going to be a struggle, to say the least.
Jackson, what about you? Your takeaways from last night's action?
Yeah, I thought it was just sloppy. Really played down to competition. And it was just kind of disappointing to see. I expected the Vols to come out and bounce back after that loss to Kansas. I attributed that loss to Kansas to just fatigue, having a big emotional game against Houston the day before. But maybe it's deeper than that. After last night, I don't know. My outlook for this season is a little different.
Yeah, Barnes talked about it after the game against Kansas, saying that he didn't know if last year's team could beat Houston, but he knows that they would have responded a lot better than they did against the Jayhawks. And now you have back-to-back performances where Tennessee has not responded well after getting a signature victory over the Cougars in Las Vegas. And look, Carey had a really strong performance, career best, 10 of 16 Ledger from the field. He also grabbed 9 rebounds to co-lead all players. Nate Ament only goes for 11, pulled down 6 rebounds. Senior guard Jacoby Gillespie, 10 points and a game-high 7 assists. But last night's offensive performance showed me that if Gillespie is not an SEC Player of the Year player in the midst of a game, then you're going to be in trouble. Right now, I don't think you can trust Nate Ament to be consistent. And that's a risk you run, adding a 5-star NBA prospect that is, 18 years old. He's going to be a really, really good player in 3 to 4 years, but right now he's a little bit raw and he's going up against grown men. And you made that decision in the offseason, and I still don't think it's a bad one because we still have a lot of basketball left to go, and there are opportunities for him to continue to progress and become a really, really impressive player. But even some people last night that are NBA scouts and cover the NBA draft pretty heavy were saying might be time to have a conversation about Nate Ament. And my thing with Ament is I just think he looks a little uncoordinated at times and kind of flails his way into the paint. And he had a really costly.
No room. He's got no room.
Well, yeah. He had a really costly offensive turnover, which resulted in a charge and a foul on him. I think it was his third or fourth. And that was, in the waning moments of the game, final 5 minutes of the game, that is. And I just feel like he's got to get more under control. Barnes talked about it last night, saying that a lot of the stuff he did in high school, you're not going to be able to do at the college level, especially up against a talented Syracuse team that is well coached and turning things around from what they were a couple of seasons ago, and maybe a season ago when you played them and beat them by 26 in TBA. So Ament has got to do a better job of getting under control and, finding a way to impact the offense as a guy that is off ball, because I think we're seeing a lot of mistakes right now when he's on ball. And that is a result of, good defense and guys getting up in his space, and he's not having the opportunity to create the way he wants to. But I think if you can get him in off-ball situations and try to give him open looks on the perimeter, give him, easy shots, rhythm shots, I think that would be beneficial. Even having him along the baseline as maybe a backdoor cutter, having the opportunity as a lob threat, stuff like that can just get him in rhythm offensively, I think would be really key. And then Gillespie, if he has a bad shooting night, he has a bad shooting night. I thought he was still, an effective player in terms of 7 assists, getting other guys involved. But I think last night's offensive performance showed you when Gillespie is not able to be that SEC Player of the Year candidate, Tennessee's going to be in some trouble because they don't have the offensive pieces and offensive power on the perimeter to go create their own shot. I like what I've seen from Jalen Carey. I think he's establishing himself as one of the top 3 players on this team right now. But, the fact that he was your leading scorer last night, when you have a 5-star NBA prospect and an SEC Player of the Year candidate in Gillespie, that's an issue. So I just think we've seen the last 3 halves of basketball what Tennessee could be when things do not go well, and that does not give me a whole lot of confidence heading into a situation in March where things could quickly go awry. How do you respond to them, or how you respond from those setbacks says a lot about the team. Tennessee has not done so in the last 3 halves of basketball. Garrett, what do you make of this offense right now, that offensive performance? What did it tell you about this team moving forward?
Yeah, pretty much everything you said. If Gillespie and Ament are playing well and they both score, a lot of points like they did that Rutgers game, and they go for half the team points, you can run all over, the worst teams in the SEC. You're going to be able to do that against the Missouris and the South Carolinas. But when you play the good teams, especially on the road, Alabama, Kentucky, Arkansas, all the other teams in the SEC, they're good. Florida, your team is probably not going to be able to have the top 2 scorers score 50 points. So you have to have your other 3 guys that are on the court at that time be able to effectively play. And it didn't really seem like you got a whole lot of that. Abram hit a 3, maybe 2 threes last night. Obviously, you were effective in the paint with Carey. When Estrella gets healthy again, I think he's a top 3 player on the team when he's playing well. But yeah, you have to have a lot more out of Ament. I'm not selling my stock on him by any, point right now in the season, but as you said, he's kind of raw. He's young. He's a freshman. This is kind of what out of conference play is for before you get into conference play. And then obviously before the big dance in March, but this is something that, it's definitely a little bit concerning. It seems like he falls over a lot, kind of when he's trying to get to the basket, flares his arms a little bit. And Gillespie, I feel like he just needs to, he's the best offensive player on the court most of the time. And I feel like he needs to just take that role and take more shots. I feel like he passed up a couple opportunities last night when he could have got off an open 3 look.
Brett, to you, what did last night's offense performance show you? And what is Jalen Carey in terms of the best player on the team? He is blank best player right now.
He's arguably the first best player on the team. He's been the most consistent the last 3 games. He's the one showing up, showing energy, scoring the ball, different things like that. And he's a bucket right now down below, whether he's getting fouled or creating or whatever. He's been your best player the last 3 games, like I said. But what was Ament coming in? Because a lot of the high school rankings coming into the season had him arguably as a top player. Mm-hmm. And then you go and watch DeBonsa and the guys he's compared to, I don't understand. Like, is he playing out of position? Does he need to play the 4? Like, and you can't play him the 4 because your guards aren't good enough. So he's really in a tough spot here as far as Barnes go. He's got the size to play low, and like I'm just so confused. Like, my expectations were up here for him, and especially when you're being compared and you go watch Boozer and DeBonsa, Peterson, and all these other guys just day one. And when Lester competition, you're playing Syracuse without their best player. They're undersized, and he can't. He's taking bad shots. Like, I don't understand. It's very frustrating because you had guys you could have been out paying money to that are, played, and it'd be a lot better fit personally. And it's very frustrating that my expectations, the amount of money you paid, the time and effort you spent to put him in the roster, I think he's either playing out of position or what. But this roster construction right now is very frustrating for me.
Well, I think that was something that a lot of people thought about heading into the season. And even when Nate Ament signed, I liked the opportunity, but I did say I worry about come March if you're going to be able to rely on an 18-year-old to win you games in the tournament. And that usually is not the case. The teams that win in the tournament are the ones that have a plethora of experienced players. Look at Florida last year. I mean, that was a team with Walter Clayton Jr. and Will Richards and Elijah Martin that had played, 4 to 5 years of college basketball. They were very well versed in what it was like to play in the tournament, and they couldn't be stopped. And you look at some of those other UConn teams too. I thought the great balance about those UConn groups was you had the veteran point guard, you had the veteran leadership, you had a guy down low that had at least 2 years of college basketball experience, and Adama Sanogo and Donovan Clingan. And then you had, like a Stefan Castle who could play alongside those players and be able to showcase what he could do. And I think Castle was a little bit more polished than what we're seeing from Ament right now, but the transition is a little bit more seamless when you're not having to be the go-to guy from day one. And I think that's the issue right now for Tennessee, to where, yeah, you missed on Ronnie Rice and you missed on Duke Miles at Vanderbilt,
Cam Carr's over there at Baylor.
But Cam Carr would be illogical to bring up because he left last year. I'm just talking about the portal specifically.
He could have helped last year's team.
Well, yeah, but that
was his decision to leave.
Yeah, that's his decision.
Saying, you had him on the roster. I think you do stuff to keep him.
Well, yeah, but he, again, that was his decision. He left. He can't do anything about it. But you went after Ronnie Rice. You went after Duke Miles. You went after Isaac McNeely, and Ament right now making around $3 million a year. Rice is making anywhere from 2 to 3 at USC. McNeely's making anywhere from 2 to 3 at Louisville. I don't think Miles is getting paid anything more than 1.5. But those are players right now that are making big time impacts for their current teams. Rice is like an 18-7 player right now for USC. So I just think that Tennessee knows they missed on a couple of those guys and did not want to put up the paycheck at the time, realized they didn't have anyone else to go to, and then signed Ament. And Ament could very well still be a great player for this team, but you're not seeing that right now from a young, unproven talent. And roster construction, three-point shooting were big concerns of mine heading into the year. Right now you're seeing it, on full display.
Barnes won with guards.
Yeah.
Not bigs.
Well, yeah.
It's just the day and age of 2 bigs is just dead and gone, and it's frustrating. You can't even recognize this team from the last couple of seasons.
But I do think you have the best guard in the conference right now, if not a top 2.
I don't know, but I think
Gillespie
is
the
best
that.
player on the. I don't think he can be 1A on our team. I don't see that.
Okay.
I don't. Do you?
Well, I think
non-existent.
On his best day, he can be. He can be a 1A on anyone
Rutgers,
against Rutgers, he took over the game. And I will say, too, the transfer portal doesn't always necessarily translate success. Look at Duke and Florida last night. Xavier Lee continues to be a car crash, and that was
But he doesn't have to be their best player. Gillespie has to be our best player. They have Thomas.
I know, I agree, but I'm just comparing, sometimes you add these guys in the portal, and it doesn't always work. Like Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan right now haven't really done a ton for Florida, but that's a team that has, Thomas Hall coming off
Yeah.
the bench, and Alex Condon is a really good player,
Yeah.
even though he's kind of underwhelmed as well. All of this to say, I do agree that guard play is really big, but I also think that, the portal doesn't always exactly transition to great players. And I think that Barnes and staff were maybe saying, I don't want to put up $2.5 to $3 million for an Elijah Freeman that's coming over from LMU, or put up a ton of money for a Ronnie Rice that was a product of a really good team at Maryland. So I don't want to just throw this all on the staff for missing, but right now watching those other guys perform, it is a tough pill to swallow. Defensively, Syracuse's Kings did not score or even attempt a shot in the second half and finished with a team high 19 points.
He dominated Par last night.
Well, and he played really well first half.
Gracious.
Played really well first half. He went 6 of 10 shooting. And then Starling had 12 points.
William Kyle or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Kyle and White had
everything.
10 apiece. Kyle had a game best 6 blocks, was really good around the rim. White with a co-game high 9 rebounds and game-leading 3 steals. They got a lot of really nice complimentary production or performances, I should say, last night from their complimentary pieces. I think that was a big point of emphasis for Tennessee, and the lack of at least that starting lineup and their complimentary performances. But I thought the defensive effort was a little bit sloppy at times, but I thought in the second half it was better. And again, I think one of you said it earlier, if you hold a team to 62 points at home, you probably expect to win that one by double digits. But that was not the case because of the offensive performance for Tennessee, as we've talked about with Ament kind of being a non-factor yesterday. Carey was great. Gillespie was not what we've seen, but I thought the defense did the job they could have done in that second half, but it wasn't enough when Tennessee's offense wasn't able to replicate what the defensive effort looked like. What'd you make of the Vols defense, Garrett? Was it good enough to come out of RMA? Or was it not RMA, JMA Wireless Dome with a win?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, 62 points, you should be able to put up enough points. I think this was more of an offensive problem. I thought defensively, really the only player that didn't look great was Okpara, which was kind of surprising because he's looked pretty good all season. Honestly, after he gave up that at the end of the first half when they airballed that 3 and then the guy made the layup at the beginning or at the end as the clock went out, I probably would have benched him the entire second half because he just didn't even care. He thought the time was over and he started walking toward the bench, and then they threw the layup in and got 2 free points at the end of the half because he wasn't paying attention, and then he was getting bullied in the paint. So I thought he was the main problem on defense last night. They had a couple guys on their team that weren't very good 3-point shooters that ended up making some threes in the second half, just kind of all the things that go wrong for you when you're going to get upset. But that play at the end of the first half really annoyed me because you could see how angry Cade Phillips was at him, and it's just a play that was just a complete lack of effort and just lack of using your brain on the last play of the half.
Yeah, frustrating way to end the half for Tennessee, just kind of a give-me bucket. And, 2 points like that, could dictate a game, and it kind of did last night as Tennessee would have been up 2 points per se. I know you can't, you can't play that game, but I'm just saying, look at the end score and those 2 free points that you gave up late in the half, came back to bite you. But the Volunteers did have a 40-28 advantage in paint points and a 32-9 cushion in bench scoring, but the Orange amassed a 24-10 margin in points off turnovers, despite only forcing one more than they committed. Syracuse also registered a 9-0 edge in fast break points, and that I really think a lot of that came from that second half stretch where it felt like it was the Lob City Clippers there for a second for Syracuse, having a lot of open rim runs. But Tennessee back in action Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time when it squares off with number 14 Illinois at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, and that will be live on ESPN. What does Tennessee have to improve, Brett, heading into this next stretch of games? Illinois Saturday, Louisville next week. What does Tennessee have to clean up in order to go 2-0 during that group?
It's all on the offense, man. I think the defense will be there. It was there last night, like you said. You just don't know where your offense is going to come from. You just don't feel comfortable saying that Gillespie's going to go out and give you such and such number. Amen. Is Carey going to continue to do what he does? You're going against a big physical team in Illinois, well coached. a lot of grown dudes on that team. I worry about Ament in games like this with a physical team because I think he shies away from contact a little bit, like we've said. And they just got to, like, I don't even know where to begin with this team, to be honest. I really don't. I don't have an answer right now, and playing these games will help. But man, I don't know. I don't know where you find it because you're gonna have to start hitting some outside shots to open up down low a little bit. But man, I really don't know what the answer is right now as we sit here.
Well, for me personally, I know the answer is not going to come from Ethan Berg. I thought last night was another gross performance from him. I think you've got to find a way to.
He tried, my guy, Amari.
He did. He threw Amari out there. Amari just doesn't look like he's ready to be out there, though.
None of those guards do. You can't throw any of those guys out there and feel okay. He's going to get a job done.
I feel like at least Troy Henderson, if you play him, like he can make threes. But like he doesn't really seem.
Some
much
of the guys are just scared to shoot a little bit.
Troy's my guy. Troy's never been afraid to shoot.
That stretch where Ament and Gillespie were out of the end of the first half was awful. Nobody wanted the ball.
I agree.
Nobody.
I agree.
It was like they threw it to Dwayne Brown like 5 on the shot clock outside the 3-point line. Like, what in the world?
Yeah, a situational basketball not great last night either.
Frustrating this lineup.
Tough loss for Tennessee. Now dropping 2 in a row. I can't remember the last time Tennessee dropped back-to-back games. I mean,
I saw it. It was right before we played Florida last year.
Okay.
And when we had beat them by 20 without like Zakai and everybody.
Okay.
I think I saw Mike Wilson tweet that out.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think it was down then. I don't know I can't remember who we played, but it was around that time.
Well, the SEC is not performing to what we thought they would in the ACC SEC challenge, but there are some pretty good teams that Tennessee's going to have to play in conference play. Vanderbilt being one of them. And you talk about those road games. That's another one. You know, Vanderbilt right now, one of the top teams in the net rankings, the top team out of the SEC. A lot of big matchups to come, but you've got an important 2-game stretch ahead of you. Illinois on Saturday, Louisville next week. Both those games in your own state. Hopefully Tennessee can handle business and fix a lot of these miscues that we've seen unfold over the last 3 halves of basketball. When we come back, we'll tell you about a special 2026 signing day class for the Tennessee football team. 3 5-stars already signed the dotted line. We'll tell you the other guys to know about, and as well as a couple of guys that we might not see might not see in a Tennessee uniform anymore, or maybe flip back to Tennessee. We'll tell you those players when we come back. Stay right here. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
The following radio theater is brought to you by Men's Pro Knoxville.
Hey, Dad, can we go football?
Oh, no, buddy.
All right.
Pops, want to work out? Maybe later.
Hey, kids are in bed. What you up to?
Tomorrow?
You've got one life, and it's too short for not nows, maybe laters, and tomorrows. If you have ED and performance issues, your family, friends, and even your career has already been affected. Book your discreet evaluation at Men's Pro Knoxville and turn your tomorrows into
today.
Yes! Touchdown!
Come on, one more, Dad. Today! Push, Dad. One more. Come on, push.
Hey, kids are in bed. What you up to?
Tonight.
Call 865-544-8220 or book now in under 30 seconds at menspronokxville.com. Men's Pro Knoxville. for every man in every season of life.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your home exterior needs. If your home needs new siding, windows, doors, gutters, handrails, a deck, or a new roof, then give my friends at North Knox Siding and Windows a call at 865-689-0505. You can also visit their showroom at 5618 North Broadway. Locally owned and operated and proudly serving all of Knoxville and the surrounding areas, North Knox Siding and Windows. Online at northknoxsidingandwindows.com.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka, made with real brewed tea, is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside, or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Got a flat tire? Strange noise under the hood? Don't stress. Roll into Matlock Tire and Auto Service. From oil changes and brake repairs to brand new tires, Matlock's certified techs do it all. Fast, friendly, and fair priced, Matlock is the home of the price match guarantee. Bring in any competitor's ad and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. Matlock Tire and Auto Service. 5 locations in East Tennessee. Visit matlocktireservice.com to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment.
All right, back here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Wednesday from Knoxville, Tennessee. It's National Signing Day, folks. Early National Signing Day, that is. And thanks to Aiden Sadati on fanrunradio.com. He has got you covered with all of the latest, including some breaking news during the break. Carter Gooden, a defensive edge, originally committed to UCLA, has flipped over to Tennessee. Another big flip for Josh Heupel and company. We have a couple of guys that are on that flip radar. J.J. Finch, another guy, a defensive lineman, currently committed to Alabama. He's a guy to watch for. But 2 players I do want to highlight. Legend Bay, an athlete that was originally committed to Tennessee, flipped to Ohio State. He did not sign today, with Brian Hartline now taking the job at South Florida. Tennessee making a push to get him back in this class. And then Salisi Moa, another athlete out of Utah, committed to Tennessee in August, but he is now not signing until December 5th. And those are 2 players to watch for. From my understanding, Utah making a late push for Moa, trying to keep him in state. And he is not signing today, despite being committed to Tennessee. So a couple of notes right there. Again, J.J. Finch, a guy that I look to flip today or flip and here in the future. As you never know when these guys are actually going to do that. So I don't want to misspeak there. But big flip right there from Carter Gooden from UCLA, a 4-star edge, adding to the defensive prowess. And another thing to note, too, DJ Durkin got the job at Auburn as the defensive coordinator and is retaining a lot of those staff members that were with him this year. Rodney Garner, Tennessee's current defensive line coach, was rumored to possibly follow Golish to Auburn. Now, I don't want to confirm that Garner is staying because he does have ties to Auburn. Families from, lives there, from there, whatever it may be. There are still ties there, but
and with the coach now. And with the coach now.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But they are retaining that defensive staff, so maybe Garner no longer in the mix to head to the Plains. But again, that's just my own personal speculation. We don't have a confirmation on that. But if Tennessee's still able to get defensive linemen and edge guys, that tells you that, Garner is still recruiting and still a part of this. So I'd imagine he's sticking around in Knoxville, hopefully, because he's one of Tennessee's best coordinators on this staff. But outside of that news and notes, let's talk about the guys who have signed, and there have been plenty of them today. Once again, follow online at fanrunradio.com for our Fan Run Frenzy. It's National Signing Day, all the coverage you need right on there. But just kind of naming off these guys real quick. Gabriel Osenda, a 5-star offensive lineman from Baylor School in Chattanooga. He signed the dotted line today. Ed Baker, another offensive lineman. KJ McLean, a defensive back. Joel Camby, I should say, a defensive back. Braden Rouse, a linebacker that I'm a really big fan of. This is a physical, speedy playmaker at that linebacker position. I really like the potential you have with him. A new development today was Logan Foley, an Australian punter. We've had some success with Australian players. Shout out to Jackson Ross. But Logan Foley is a part of this class now as a punter, continuing that great Australia connection that Tennessee has had. Defensive lineman Zach Groves, another guy I really like, is going to be a star for this team. Faison Brandon, one of the crown jewels of this 2026 class. He's a 5-star as well at quarterback, and this now marks back-to-back seasons where Tennessee is able to nab the best player out of North Carolina. Last year, it was David Sanders. Hezekiah Harris, defensive lineman, another one another player that you got a commitment from heading into the season in the summer. He's going to be a really good player. TK Keys, as he's going by, Tyreek Keys, Tristan Keys, I should say. I'm looking
combining the two.
I'm looking at Tyreek King as well. Sorry,
you're too excited.
Errors and omissions. TK Keys, aka Tristan Keys, a 5-star wide receiver, had some late pushes from LSU and Ole Miss, but he signs with Tennessee today, a big-time addition there. I like Joel Wyatt a lot as well. He's coming over from the Jackson, Mississippi area. Really like him and what he could bring to the table. TJ White as well. A couple of defensive players that I think could really help boost this roster moving forward. And then kind of going down, Darian Albert as well, another really impressive defensive lineman prospect. Plenty of really good defensive players in the mix here. And I think that speaks volume to the type of roster that Josh Heupel and company are trying to build with the emphasis on defense, but also you have these crown jewel offensive players, a quarterback, an offensive lineman, and a wide receiver, all with 5 stars to their name. Josh Heupel continuing to boost the offensive side of the football. So when we look at this class right now, obviously some guys still to go. This is early National Signing Day as well, so Tennessee very well could add a couple of more players to this class. Last year, however, the early signing day class out of high school was the only players out of high school to sign for Tennessee last year. Did not sign anyone in the second National Signing Day window, and I anticipate that a lot of these guys will be kind of the main group from this high school class. I don't imagine you'll add too many more players in the, February window for National Signing Day because you're going to be going in the portal. You'll be adding guys that way. So this National Signing Day has become really important for getting those guys that you develop over the next couple of years and hopefully turn into big-time players. But I highlighted those 5-star players. You guys are welcome to talk about it. But I look at these defensive players like a Braden Rouse, who I think is going to be a really important player here. Zach Groves, Carter Gooden, a guy that just flipped over. I look at players like that in addition to TJ White, just guys that are really, really good athletes, have a knack for finding the football defensively, getting in the backfield, wrapping up, making plays. After watching this team play this past season, you need guys like that. So I highlight these defensive players that I think could be really, really beneficial moving forward. And we have to trust the type of job that Ronnie Garner and Coach Chop have done over the last season, and in Chop's case, for Garner's case, over the last couple of seasons. And though there are some questions at defensive coordinator, who's going to be that coordinator next year, if it is Tim Banks, I think you're at least getting the right type of guys in the room that can go and make plays in the future. Jaden Perlotti was one of my favorite players defensively this year, and now is a true freshman. maybe a couple of these players can be in the same type of window as players that can make an immediate impact. Garrett, beginning with you, the guys you're watching for out of this class, who are you most excited about? Lay it on us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously getting your three main players, Faison, Osenda, and then I guess we're calling him TK King now instead of Tristan Keys, but getting him and then Tyreek King, obviously another guy, local guy from Knoxville, getting those guys on the offensive side of the ball is massive. Some of the guys you highlighted, Braden Rouse, linebacker, Zach Groves on the defensive line, so Joel Wyatt, a defensive back. So you're bringing in a lot of good talent on defense that, can potentially play and compete for, a starting position as a freshman. Depending on, it doesn't really matter who your defensive coordinator is next year. That those guys are going to go out and compete and be ready to go for the fall, hopefully. But, another thing, I don't know if you were going to talk about it, but the blanking on his name, not signing today.
Legend Bay.
Yeah.
Legend Bay, yeah.
Thought that was kind of interesting. Obviously, Brian Hartline took the job, Ohio State offensive coordinator, now going to South Florida. So I know he didn't sign, and then Chris Henry, Ohio State's other 5-star, not signing. So I don't know if Legend Bay is not signing because he just, sometimes that doesn't happen with the paperwork and you're not able to sign in time, or is that he could be flipping due to Hartline leaving? Apparently they said him and Chris Henry weren't notified that Hartline was leaving, so that could be something to potentially watch because obviously he was originally committed to Tennessee.
Yeah, and Henry was originally announced that he was signing today, and then that news comes out, and now it doesn't seem like that paperwork is going to be submitted. So something to watch for at Ohio State. Legend Bay, again, a guy we mentioned a minute ago, a former Tennessee commit, flipped over to Ohio State after taking a visit when the Buckeyes hosted Penn State, has since been committed after that weekend. But now Tennessee trying to get back into the mix to get one of their former class members back into this class. Brett, what about you? A guy or a characteristic of this class that you really like?
I wish these 5-stars were defensive players. To be honest with you, I could use a 5-star corner, 5-star safety. Because I think, nobody really does jump off the page outside of the offensive guys. For me, you're just adding depth and things like that. The real noise is in the portal, but the three main guys are really good, and I think they're gonna be key components starting as early possibly as next year. So excited about a lot of these guys. But like I said, you just need a lot of defensive help right now, and the front seven you're not really worried about. I wish we could have done better on the back end than we did, but still solid. Top 6-7 class. So you got to be happy with that. So now it's all about getting in the portal.
Breaking news, Legend Bay has officially switched over to Tennessee. He's going to be a part of this National Signing Day class. Was originally a member of this class a couple of months back, switched over to Ohio State with Brian Hartline now going to South Florida. Legend Bay back into this class as an athlete / wide receiver. That tells me a little bit that maybe Salisi Moa is now out of the picture. They're moving on. But that's a big time revelation there, right on the air. Legend Bay back in the 865. Jackson, what about you? Any guys that pique your interest out of this class?
Yeah, kind of shocked that where'd you see the Bay news?
Just announced on Tennessee Tennessee football.
Oh, okay. I've been looking for that. I'm excited to see what happens with, I believe his name is Jordan Carter, another edge out of Georgia, I believe. That's who I'm referring to. I don't know. I know Tennessee has another interest in a flip candidate from Georgia. I believe his name's Jordan Carter, has some interest from Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Excited to see if they'd be able to get that one in as well.
Yeah, Jordan Carter, if I'm correct, there was originally committed to Texas A&M. Does that sound correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So
he's signed at 4 p.m. today. Top schools are Tennessee, Georgia Tech, and Auburn.
Yeah. Now I know Georgia Tech's been in the mix, but as of late, Tennessee has taken momentum, from my understanding. But again, with a lot of defensive lineman additions in this class, maybe he decides to go the Georgia Tech route. But yeah, big signing there with Legend Bay coming back. I said this morning I would anticipate either or Salisi Moa or Legend Bay. You get one. not the other. And
well, you didn't think Legend Bay today until Brian Hartline.
Well,
right?
I guess I knew that Tennessee had was still making a run for Bay, trying to get him to flip regardless, and that's why I think this was such a quick transition today. Even when Hartline leaves, that Tennessee is his first option. He wasn't even because originally it was reported that Bay was going to delay till December 5th, and now
would you have wanted Bay or Moa?
I personally like Salisi Moa better.
That's
but
what I was going to say.
I like
He's
Salisi
an
Moa.
athlete, right? He could play.
But they're both athletes. I mean,
yeah.
Bay, so he's small, right?
I
He's
think
like 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, well, he plays QB in high school.
I think the debate with Moa right now is the staff wants him to play defense. He wants to play offense. I think that's the struggle at the moment. And I think you had a similar situation with Joel Wyatt as well. And he's listed as a DB, but in high school he's an athlete, could play wide receiver. So I think obviously Utah has come in and offered him a fair amount of money last night, to my understanding.
I wouldn't battle him for money if that's the case. You
I would
have
agree.
money to go other areas here soon. So
I would agree.
Especially if Bay's on board. But yeah. It's packed the wide receiver room if all these guys are just going to fight it out for really 3 spots because that's all you get out there.
Yeah. So we're looking at the chat real quick. Aiden Sadati once again doing a great job on fanrunradio.com. Get the latest on this National Signing Day class. Talking about this punter that I was talking about earlier. 6'6", 23 years old. This Australian punter is, and I'm just now seeing the chat. He said William in all caps. Bay just signed with Tennessee, so good stuff there from Aiden. And again, go to fanrunradio.com to keep up to date with all of the National Signing Day guys for Tennessee. Big time flip for the Volunteers, getting Legend Bay back into the mix. When we come back, it's our Best Bets Look Ahead presented by VIP Play. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Your smile says it all, so make sure it's saying the right thing. At Knoxville Smiles, we believe healthy teeth mean happy lives. Whether it's a routine cleaning, whitening for that big event, or fixing a nagging toothache, our gentle team is here for you. With flexible hours, family-friendly care, and the latest technology, Knoxville Smiles makes every visit stress-free. Don't wait another day to love your smile. Call Knoxville Smiles today at 865-539-1776 or book online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by Pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at boknowshouses.com.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm afraid, like I'm scared as a dog, but I've got a new song and I want y'all to sing along.
All right, back here on the Playbook presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Wednesday from Knoxville. Now time for our Best Bets Look Ahead as we get ready for Conference Championship Weekend in college football. Before we do that, let me tell you a little bit more about VIP Play. Go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. And when you make your first bet of $20 or more, you'll get $100 instantly in bonus bets by using the code FANRUN. That's FANRUN in all caps to claim those bonus bets. So if you're a college football, college basketball, NBA, or NFL fan, there's no reason not to get in on the action. VIP Play, the best place to do it. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. All right, let's start on Friday night. I still like North Texas at the 2.5. I think they're the better team, and the fact that they're on the road and still a favorite here tells me a lot. Eric Morris and company have been a little bit more dialed in this week as John Summerall has changed his appearance within 24 hours. He went to Gainesville on Monday, was announced as Florida's head coach, and was back in a Tulane hoodie on Tuesday. I just think it's a lot to navigate and tough to deal with. So I like North Texas. Eric Morris already came out and said that he's going to finish out the Mean Green season, has not been introduced at Oklahoma State yet. And I feel like a lot of these North Texas players are going to hop in the portal with him. And, there isn't as much of an emphasis on, trying to get guys the way like Summerall is going to have to, because like Summerall can't bring his Tulane class to Florida. He came out and said that. He came out and said that he's not going to poach that class. Boise would have to beat UNLV. That'd be.
Is James Madison's coach staying to coach?
No, Chesney's going to UCLA.
Well, I mean,
finishing out the rest of the season,
right,
but he's going to UCLA eventually. But yes, I don't know. I just thought that was funny. I stumbled upon a Kennesaw State fan, and he was rattling it out because if Duke does win the ACC championship, I don't think a 5-loss Duke team is making it.
No way.
Maybe the Owls, the Hootie Hoos, as John says, would maybe get a nod.
That'd be the worst day.
We'll move down the list. Texas Tech minus 12.5. Still like this. I think BYU gets run off the field as they should be. Not a good team, and I think this is a good spot for Texas Tech. Just a much better football team. Georgia 2.5. They've lost 10 straight in this matchup. And yet they're favored 2.5 on a neutral site field despite losing to Alabama early in the season at home. That tells me Georgia is the right side. We'll see if that line moves up anymore. Ohio State minus the 4.5, still the side I'm leaning in Indiana. And the Buckeyes matchup. Those are the best bets look-aheads for conference championship weekend. Be in Atlanta for the SEC championship Saturday. Looking forward to that one. Hoping to cash as well. All right, when we come back in hour number 2, we'll do our contending questions in college football, as well as our bubble debates. Our bubble watch continues for the college football playoff.
It was a good one yesterday.
Yesterday, it was heated, and it was probably poorly timed as well, as we had our Christmas segment right after that. But we'll do all of that on the other side. Stay right here. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox, Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Today, we raise a glass of Jameson Irish whiskey to the sport of football. Hear, hear!
To Gaelic football, born in Ireland in 1885 in its thrilling blend of soccer, rugby and basketball. On a massive field, 15 players kick or hand pass a round ball that scored points over a bar or into a net. No pads, no helmet, no sense.
Hear, hear!
To college football, which kicked off in 1869 when Rutgers beat Princeton 6-4 in the Battle of New Jersey. With 11 players and helmets and pads, teams battle on a 100-yard gridiron with explosive pass plays and hard-hitting tackles. Unless you're called for targeting.
Hear, hear! Since 1780, Jameson Irish whiskey has been enjoyed by sports fans all around the globe. Whether your football is Gaelic, American, or even soccer, we can all agree on super smooth Jameson Irish whiskey. Hear, hear!
Are you tired of waiting on interest rates to drop before you start saving money? I'm Chris Burleson with University Lending Group, and I've got a better way. With a traditional closed-end mortgage, most of your payment goes straight to interest, not your balance. But with my Smart Loan, every deposit you make cuts your principal immediately and reduces interest in real time. On average, my clients pay off their mortgage in just 7 years. Call me today at 888-388-7634 or visit smartloantn.com and let's turn your income into financial freedom. NMLS number 332941.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Tired of waiting for the weekend or good weather to play around? From casual to committed, Back 9 Golf has got you covered. Open to the public and offering flexible membership opportunities, they offer 24/7 access to 5 different simulators, providing cutting-edge technology, instant swing feedback, fun mini games, and a wide variety of courses to choose from. Perfect for that solo round you want after work, or swing by with food and drinks for an afternoon with friends and family. No stressful tee times, no rain delays. It's Back 9 Golf your way. Book your tee time now at theback9golf.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
The following radio theater is brought to you by Men's Pro Knoxville.
Hey, Dad, can we play football?
Oh, no, buddy.
All right.
Pops, want to work out?
Maybe later.
Hey, kids are in bed. What you up to?
Tomorrow?
You've got one life, and it's too short for not nows, maybe laters, and tomorrows. If you have ED and performance issues, your family, friends, and even your career has already been affected. Book your discreet evaluation at Men's Pro Knoxville and turn your tomorrows into
today.
Yes! Touchdown!
Come on, one more, Dad.
Today!
Push, Dad. One more. Come on, push.
Hey, kids are in bed. What you up to?
Tonight.
Call 865-544-8220 or book now in under 30 seconds at menspronknoxville.com. Men's Pro Knoxville, for every man in every season of life.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Here we go. Hour number 2 on a Wednesday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. Brett Hollander, Garrett Armbrust, and Jackson Freeman joining you. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue here in hour number 2 as we do our college football contending questions as we head into the conference championship weekend, bridging the storylines from week 14 into the new week, conference championship week. We'll also do our bubble watch debates. Today, Alabama and BYU, the topic of conversation yesterday. I should say it was Notre Dame and Miami, and we had some red faces and some high energy.
Me versus 3 of y'all.
I know.
Just how I want that.
3 people say one thing, one person says the other. Who's right?
That's the way it goes.
You know?
Yeah.
And we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts, continuing to keep an eye as well on Tennessee's National Signing Day. If you're just joining us, Legend Bay, a former Tennessee commit that went to Ohio State, flipped his commitment around a month ago, just flipped back to Tennessee after Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator for the Buckeyes, is now being named the new head coach for South Florida. Tennessee stayed in the hunt despite Bay flipping, and it pays off as originally Bay announced that he was going to sign on December 5th, and then just a couple hours after that, he is now a part of this Tennessee class once again. And another one, Carter Gooden, a four-star edge, four-star defensive lineman, originally committed to UCLA. He flipped over to Tennessee today. Tennessee gets another last laugh with the Bruins after someone decided to depart to Los Angeles last year. But regardless, we'll continue to keep an eye on that as Tennessee is lining up a very impressive top 10 class of 2026 recruiting group. Before we get into the college football topics, though, we'll head to the phones, and we've got Rusty on the line. What's up, Rusty?
What's happening?
How are you?
I'm well. I want to talk about the high school portal recruiting since it's National Signing Day. And I really wanted to get your opinion and everybody's opinion on my thoughts on it. But before that, I had to pick up on the playoff committee and what you guys are talking about yesterday, if that's okay.
Yeah.
The Notre Dame versus Miami topic and head-to-head topic. When we're picking between two teams that get to go represent in the SEC championship, what's the first tiebreaker if they have the same record?
Head-to-head.
If they played head-to-head. When we're talking about two NFL teams getting in the playoffs, if they have the same record, what's the first tiebreaker?
Head-to-head?
Yep. Now, the playoff committee doesn't want to do that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the playoff committee wants ambiguity. They do not want to have a hard set of rules that forces their hands to take this team over that team. Just like last night, they didn't want to have Alabama potentially not get in if they lose. Notre Dame was ahead of Bama going into this week's committee poll. They were ahead last week. They flipped them. That way, they picked and choose. There was no reason to move Bama ahead of Notre Dame. Beating Auburn barely and Notre Dame destroying Stanford wasn't reason to move Bama ahead. But they did it because if they had been behind Notre Dame and they lost to Georgia, then you can't jump them over Notre Dame then. But now they flipped them because they want to pick who they want. And I'm not saying they necessarily don't want Notre Dame in. They obviously do because of the fan base, but they don't. They've been told by conferences, you can't knock out a Big Ten or SEC championship game loser, so you guys better have some magical formula to flip them around this week. It's ambiguity. They want to be able to do what they want to, and they don't want to be beholden to rules.
I would agree with that, and I don't think that last night's decision to have Alabama jump Notre Dame is fair. I think Notre Dame's a better football team than them right now. And my thing is this, Rusty, in terms of the Notre Dame-Miami debate, I get the head-to-head is everyone's, easy out, an easy thing to point out, but I think you're lying to yourself if you think Miami's been a better football team this season than Notre Dame has. Miami has two bad losses to Louisville and SMU. Notre Dame has crushed everyone in their way.
I don't disagree with who's the better teams. I think Vanderbilt is better than Bama or Utah or Ole Miss. But thinking they're better isn't the criteria, or should not be the criteria, because that again, thinking somebody is better breeds ambiguity. We want your results and what you've done to be what dictates. And winning on the field head-to-head is a hard-line result. It's not a opinion, and it should never be an opinion. I'm sorry.
But
do you think Vanderbilt would beat Ole Miss like a drum right now? Because I sure as heck do.
I wouldn't. I don't think they'd beat them like a drum. I think Ole Miss. I think that'd be a very close game. I don't. I know Vanderbilt was impressive this weekend, but let's be real about ourselves. I mean, Tennessee is not some world beater themselves either. I think Ole Miss, despite all the things that have gone down, they've still played really good football, and they've played with fire a little bit too much throughout the season for me to believe this is a championship team. I don't believe they are a championship team, but I don't think that Vanderbilt would per se just come in there and beat the crap out of them. I think Ole Miss's defense is well equipped with guys.
Ole Miss's defense is statistically worse than Tennessee's.
I just think on the front with guys like Sertain Perkins, I think they're right on line with a lot of the teams that Vanderbilt has struggled with. I mean, Missouri I think's got a better group, but I mean that was a game that was back and forth in Nashville, just 5 or 6 weeks ago. So I think Ole Miss's offense too is a lot better than what Tennessee puts out against good opponents, and I think you would agree with that as well. And I think Ole Miss would, force Pavia and force Vanderbilt to get into a shootout, which they've played a lot of this year, but Ole Miss has too, and they usually win those.
I think the clear-cuttedness of Vanderbilt being better than several teams in front of them is more obvious than Notre Dame and Miami, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You see my point?
Yeah.
We're saying who do we think's better? Miami's run roughshod over some teams as well. Like their common opponents, Pitt and Stanford, Miami was just as impressive in both those games as Notre Dame was.
Well, I think context is important, though. You go watch that Miami-Pitt game. I know that it was a handled decision, but Miami's throwing fade routes with 40 seconds to go for a 40-yard touchdown to C.J. Daniels. Like they're up 31-7. Why are they like? I think they were trying to rub in the score a little bit more. Like, and also that Pitt game too. Pitt scored on the final play of the game, just to make that score a little bit closer than it was. I think context is important too, because Notre Dame I thought was a lot more in control in that Pitt matchup than Miami was. I mean, Miami played well, but Notre Dame was just beating the brakes off them in every facet.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. It's still ambiguous.
Sure,
I would agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Recruiting. I personally, and I want to get your opinion, I think the class we signed last year and the class we're signing this year is a bad way to go about doing things today in college football. I think you signing 25 high school guys is a terrible idea. I think 15 should be the most high school guys you're signing. Sign 15 high school guys, narrow it down, be more particular about who you recruit. Because if you sign 25, more than likely you're not going to, 12 or so of those are going to either transfer or not work out. Because you're taking a bunch of guys who you're not sure on. Only bring in the high school guys you have done so much diligence on that you're positive they're going to work out for you. And then take all those scholarships you're spending on 10, 12 high school guys who are maybes and go in the portal. Like Vanderbilt and Indiana have done. Go get you a bunch of 22-year-olds who played a bunch of college football and recruit those guys from the portal who you've seen and know can play at the college level.
You
What do you
still
think?
you still need practice players and depth guys, though. You can't just give all your scholarships to guys who have played because they're going to want playing time, and you can't promise playing time to 25 guys when there's 22 spots on the field. So I got to disagree.
I'm not saying
with
guaranteed
that.
spots.
Well,
But don't you think it's worked out pretty well for? Don't you think it's worked out well for Indiana? They're recruiting small classes in high school and getting a bunch of older guys.
Yeah,
also
but
to play,
to your
especially
point,
in the trenches.
Some of the rumors, and I don't know how true these were, but going into this season, some of the rumors as to why Tennessee couldn't get a transfer guy out of the receiver in the transfer portal was because they couldn't get a guy who went from playing to come into Tennessee and possibly take less playing time. So I just don't know how you're going to pitch that to 15 or so transfers instead of getting freshmen that can come and fill those practice roles that you ultimately still need filled. I mean, that's always been at the end of the day, every class you're going to have guys that their true purpose when they graduate was to have been a practice guy, a practice dummy. And they get a scholarship out of it. But
with the lack of defensive linemen that we ended up with, and the play of our linebackers and the play of our safeties, you could have gotten 7 guys from the portal right there to try to compete for a starting job at all those positions, or tell them, hey, you've seen Jeremiah T. Lander and Andre Turrentine play. Do you think you can come beat them out?
Yeah, if I can weigh in here, I think that look, high school recruiting, I think, is still important because at least at Tennessee,
I'm not saying it's not.
No, I know. I'm not saying that you weren't, and I agree that I don't agree with like a USC. USC's got like 35 commits right now. Like that's overkill. But I think there are also two sides of the coin. You mentioned Indiana. That's a good example. They hit on Fernando Mendoza. I really like, like Mike Beebe came over from UAB. He got banged up, but like they had a lot of nice additions. But I also look at the other side of it, and you look at like a Colorado that's basically said, hey, we're not doing high school recruiting, but like, 10 to 12 guys, we're going to go all through the portal. And you miss on guys. Like, I mean, Caden Salter, I think anyone could have said he was going to miss after watching him at Liberty last year. But like they go all in on him. They go all in on, trying to just rebuild exclusively from the portal. I think the big thing is just finding the balance, right? And
yeah, it's a balance.
And I think when you look at this class, you've gotten your quarterback of the future. You've got an offensive lineman that I think could start next year. A wide receiver in Tristan Keys that could start next year, or it could be in the rotation next year at the very least. And, the defensive line was an issue this year. You didn't have a whole lot of depth, but you've got guys like Isaiah Campbell next year that were, a guy that you recruited last season, stashed this year. He's going to be in line to play. And this defensive line class, I think, is good. So I think it just provides you depth of guys that are, wanting to come into the program, wanting to, be in an SEC environment for 1 to 2 seasons, see what they can do. If it doesn't work out, they'll transfer. We know that. But I think it's easier to pitch these recruiting guys or these high school guys to come to a program, see where their footing is, as opposed to a transfer portal player that's looking to come in and play right away because he's leaving an opportunity where he wasn't playing. You see what I'm saying there?
Absolutely. But the argument I will make right quick is, every guy you just named from the high school that we signed last year and this year would have no doubt been part of the 15 recruits I brought in out of high school.
Sure.
Like I'm not talking about the guy. Those are all guys that we knew. We know Faison Brandon's an elite talent and Keys is an elite talent, and the defensive lineman from last year and the guys we're bringing in. Those are our top tier recruits that are absolutely in. I'm talking about the 9-10 guys that we'll get them on campus and see what they can do, guys.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are pretty much wasted scholarships that you could be using on guys. Last year, we signed, 5 guys last year? Just imagine if we would have went out and got 2 safeties, 2 linebackers, 2 quality defensive linemen from the portal that ended up at Indiana or Vanderbilt or a bunch of other places. LSU rebuilt their defense all through the portal, and they were an elite defense, just couldn't play offense. That's my point, is getting those type of guys instead of a bunch of dudes from high school that you don't know that are going to be real college football players. You're just hoping.
No, yeah, I think that's a fair point. And
don't do what Florida State's doing, which is to heck with high school recruiting almost exclusively. We're rebuilding our roster every year to the portal. That's a terrible idea too.
Yeah,
it's got to be a perfect mixture. And I think right now we're a little too heavy on the high school and not enough on the portal. But don't go the other way either.
Yeah. I agree. Rusty, we appreciate you calling in, and we appreciate your time and good points on both the college football playoff and the recruiting process that Josh Heupel and company, need to monitor. I think finding that balance is really key across college football, not just in Knoxville. All right, let's get into our contending questions. Got about 15 minutes before the break. We'll try to knock out as many as we can. We'll begin with this. Question 1, assuming Notre Dame gets into the playoff over Miami, is there any incentive left for teams to schedule difficult non-conference games? There are 2 glaring examples this year of the reason not to schedule those games. Texas will be left out for a 3rd loss against number 1 Ohio State. Miami will likely be left out after beating Notre Dame head-to-head and having an almost identical resume, but having 2 poor losses. Why would any sane university want to schedule these games? Now, I think there is a little bit of an overkill on this topic, and that's why I wanted to bring it today, because I think the committee does value your strength of schedule. You look at the top 2-loss team in the country right now, that's Oklahoma, who scheduled Michigan in out-of-conference play. You look at the highest-ranked 3-loss team right now, that's Texas, because they scheduled Ohio State early in the season. I think they are getting credit for doing that. But I do see the argument of it really only matters of what your record is. If you're 11-1, you're going to be in the college football playoff. If you're 10-2, you're going to be on the bubble, like these teams are. And Alabama scheduled Florida State to begin the year. They should have won that game, but now they're on the bubble because of that matchup. If they play Taco Bell Tech and beat them by 32, or 302, I should say, then they're 11-1 and firmly in the playoffs. So I think that it is something for teams to think about. And we had this wave of where everyone was trying to schedule these big-time opponents, these big-time matchups in week 1 to get these resume-building wins. But sometimes they come back to fire or, backfire, especially if a team like Florida State that week 1 looked like they were going to be in the college football playoff and now is a, 8-loss team. Like, I think there is an incentive.
Well, it didn't matter now, but LSU and Clemson played, and that could have had ramifications.
Exactly.
The seasons went.
Exactly. So I think it's something to think about. And we've already seen Alabama this week start to kind of make some tweaks. They're adding like Marshall onto their.
But they dropped South Florida, right? Wasn't that?
Well, they dropped it to like 2032.
Yeah, but they didn't drop like a.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I just think it's interesting to see some of these teams what they'll do going forward, like Auburn and Notre Dame.
Well, in the SEC, you still have to play.
I know
a decent team, right?
But I think that's going to be trying to figure out which ACC team you're going to schedule. I'd imagine a lot of
like LSU and Clemson play open season next year.
Exactly.
As well, in LSU.
I feel like you're going to see a lot of Big Ten bottom feeders and ACC bottom feeders scheduled by SEC teams just to get a free one. Garrett, sorry.
Does Tennessee still have that home and home with Washington scheduled?
I was just thinking about that. I know Georgia.
Sure they do.
Georgia Tech is still on.
That'll probably stay.
I'd imagine Washington and Tennessee will. But Georgia Tech is next year's opponent. You'll play them in a home and home. But Garrett, going to you, this question: is there an incentive still to be playing these out-of-conference major matchups?
I think so. I mean, if you win one, the committee's still going to view that well. I mean, Texas can argue with us as much as they want, but I'm still in the realm that, they shouldn't have lost to 4-8 Florida, and Miami shouldn't have lost to a Louisville team that stuttered down the stretch and lost to an SMU team that also didn't make the ACC championship game. Both their losses were to teams that didn't make the ACC title game and an ACC that's pretty weak this year. People are just arguing about this, not playing a big game, as an out-of-conference game early in the season because there's so many teams this year that are bubbled up. Usually there's not this many teams that are 10-2, 11-1 that have a chance to make the playoffs. But in my opinion, still for Texas, they're 9-3 and they lost to a very bad Florida team. That was their own fault.
Brett, what about you?
Yeah, because I think Garrett said it. I mean, if you handle the rest of your business, you'd be in the playoff. I don't think the Ohio State cost them by any stretch of the imagination. Just like we talk about Georgia, like if we handled our business down the road, then we'd probably be in this conversation for the playoff. You can't look at one loss to start your season as the end all be all. There's so much season still left to play. I'm all for, especially to start your season with these top matchups. I hope they don't go away. We need something to get excited about in the offseason, some early season games. That was fun watching. As bad as the football was, Texas and Ohio State to open the season. That was great. And hopefully it continues that way. I don't think it will, but it'd be fun to see.
Jackson, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Brett. Like just the atmosphere around that week 1 game. It was the first time ever that you opened the season with number 1 and number 2. Stuff like that still means something to maybe not as big of a group of people, but to a lot of people out there.
To us it matters. The coaches it doesn't.
Yeah. And I asked about that Washington home and home because I want that to happen. I think that'd be awesome to see Tennessee go and play up in Seattle.
Yeah.
Stuff getting big time wins over other conferences. It means something to me. And so I hope they stay.
All right, question 2. Do you think Oklahoma deserves a closer look when comparing the glut of 2-loss teams? Now, if you use the watch the games test, the Sooners easily would be at the bottom of that tier, as their offense might be the worst unit out of any of these top 12, 15 teams. From a resume standpoint, their best win is great, and it's at Alabama, but the rest of their wins have lost some luster, as Michigan is number 19, Tennessee and Missouri no longer ranked. We'll talk more about that kind of narrative here in a second. But there are a couple of teams that I do not consider as legitimate championship contenders. That's Ole Miss, that's Oklahoma, that's Oregon. And that's just out of my top 10 group. I think everyone else could possibly find a way to win. But Oklahoma, my big gripe with them is I just don't trust their offense. Their defense is incredible. R. Mason Thomas has even missed games, and they have still not skipped a beat. But the offense right now is just way too inconsistent, and it just doesn't have enough juice. They're putting up 200 yards and winning games against top 25 teams.
They like us from last year?
Well, it kind of, but they're winning them this time. I mean, Tennessee doesn't go on the road and beat Alabama. Oklahoma was able to find a way to do it because Eli Bowen and his brother were able to make 2 really big plays over the course of that game. So I think Oklahoma most certainly deserves another look. But their resume, I think, is just so much stronger, and their timing of wins and losses is so much better than these other teams, to where I don't think they will be. But I do think it's something to watch for. Oklahoma right now, I mean, I don't view them as a championship team, but their defense is able to get stops. If they go up against an offense that has the firepower to withstand that, and the defense that can, override whatever they do offensively, I think they'll be, to put it frank, embarrassed in a big college football playoff game. Very well could be to an Ohio State or something like that. But I think it at least deserve a look. Garrett, what do you make of Oklahoma?
I think they're in. I mean, especially when it comes down to another SEC team that's right there, Vanderbilt, both 10-2. Oklahoma still has 2 ranked wins over teams that are still ranked. They beat Alabama. They beat Michigan. Both those teams are in the top 25. Vanderbilt's ranked wins at the time are no longer ranked wins. They don't have a single win this entire season over a team that's still ranked. They lost their games to Texas and Alabama. And then obviously Oklahoma lost their games to Texas and Ole Miss. Ole Miss in the playoffs, Texas just outside. So I think Oklahoma's losses are pretty much the same as Vanderbilt's losses, but their wins are better than Vanderbilt's wins.
All right, now on a similar note, and I'll ask you this one, Brett, should the committee punish teams for knocking a team that was ranked to out of the rankings and view that as no longer a resume-boosting win? And the example of that is Vanderbilt beating Tennessee this weekend. Heading into that game, it was a top 20 matchup. Tennessee was ranked at home. Vanderbilt beats Tennessee handedly, and now they're not ranked. But the committee last night, the committee chair says that Vanderbilt's resume is not as strong because they beat Tennessee.
They dropped them, right? In the rankings?
Well, yeah, they didn't move. They're still at 14.
Okay.
And that mind boggles me because that was a top 20 team in your criteria last week.
You're an underdog.
And yeah, and Vanderbilt was the underdog.
Yeah.
And they get a win, and yet it's not viewed as a positive. And now because Tennessee is not ranked, they don't view that as a resume-boosting win. I don't think that is fair at all and should still be a part of the criteria. Because Vanderbilt beat Tennessee that
what
bad.
What do they think, like Oklahoma beating us? Do they think the same thing when they
talk
Vandy?
And then, that's something to ponder as well. Because
Alabama, yeah.
I don't think teams should be punished for beating a team and knocking them out of the top 25 when they were a top 25 team when you play them this late in the season. So I think it is another characteristic of many flaws this committee has. And I know it's kind of a log jam between, 10 to 15 right now. It's tough to, move them around. But
if they weren't Vandy, if there was somebody else across that jersey, it probably would be a different story. They consider it a quality win to go on the road in the SEC against a rival, and you do it in a dominant fashion, something you haven't done in a lot in your program history. Yeah, it's totally wrong. I mean, I don't think Tennessee was a top 25 team. I don't know why we kept being ranked as one. If I was a Vandy fan, I'd be a little frustrated today.
And the problem is, too, when you look at those 11 to 15 teams, Miami's in front of Texas. Texas is in front of Vanderbilt because they have that head-to-head win.
Again, that doesn't make sense if you're not going to have Miami out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm still Team Notre Dame. But I'm just that's what the committee did in that instance. I just think there is a gap between Miami at this point in the season and a gap between what Notre Dame is at this point in the season.
Notre Dame, though, like, I mean, I understand they've played better, but like Miami, I mean, I understand earlier in the season Notre Dame also destroyed Pitt, but Notre Dame just destroyed Pitt. And Notre Dame played a lackluster game against Stanford. I understand Jeremiah Love didn't play much of the game because of that injury that was nagging him, and they didn't want to get him banged up if they do make the playoffs. But, I mean, I wouldn't say Miami. They had that run where they didn't play good toward the middle of the season, but I feel like they're playing good football again.
And isn't the strength of record literally the same? The strength of schedule literally the same? Like, it's like 42, 44. It's like 13, 14, and all these metrics. I mean, it's got to come down to that head. It's going to be crazy. They leave them out.
Well, one team in the last.
I don't know how they're not. What decided to get Duke the nod over Miami for the ACC championship? How do they determine that?
Tiebreakers. And that's I mean, and that's.
Why don't they go by the rankings or something?
That's a question on here as well. You know, talking about.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no, we probably won't even get to it.
Yeah.
But I'll just go ahead and pose it. Why is the Miami outrage solely focused on Notre Dame and not how broken the ACC's own tiebreaker process is? So if we think Miami is a top 10 team, why is everyone okay with the ACC putting in a team significantly worse and with a worse resume in the championship game? Why should the College Football Playoff Selection Committee do right by Miami when its own conference is screwing it far over more egregiously? And I agree with that. We can talk Notre Dame, Miami all we want, but the fact that Miami is not even in their own conference championship in the weakest Power 4 conference, I think says something. And if the ACC wants to, play the Notre Dame Miami game 13 times on television this week, that's all fun and games. But in reality, if Miami was in the ACC championship, we wouldn't even be having this debate. Why the hell is Duke in this thing? The reason why is because the ACC expands to 17 teams. Not everyone plays each other. There are no divisions, and there's going to be one team that, plays, more conference games than the other. It's just wacky. But that's what you get when you have this expansion and have a conference that is not very well run. So everyone's bashing the committee. I'd look at your own conference, Miami. They're the reasons why you're not in a college football playoff spot right now. Because I don't think anyone would argue that Miami would beat Virginia on Saturday night. But instead, it's 7-5 Duke that finds their way into it. I think that's a bigger issue than Miami versus Notre Dame. Would you guys agree with that before we hit the break?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Duke played a significantly easier schedule than Miami. I mean, Miami played Louisville, they played SMU, they played Pitt, they played FSU, and they were playing better. They had Clemson on the schedule, who was expected to be better, and then Duke. I mean, they played Wake Forest, who obviously was improved this season. They played North Carolina, who wasn't very good. They also played Georgia Tech. I mean, they played Cal. They played I just feel like the Miami schedule was better, and that I feel like if Duke would have played Louisville or if they would have played SMU, they probably would have lost again. Because I mean, they lost to Tulane. They lost to UConn. They lost to Illinois by 26. I mean, Duke's a decent football team, but, I mean, they shouldn't be anywhere sniffing the college football playoff.
I think the ACC is just that's the bigger problem here.
But there's plenty of teams that aren't going to win their conference championship that are making the college football playoff.
I know, but that's not the same case for all these other conferences. The Big Ten is a different conversation.
I mean, is Miami better than Oklahoma to you? If you want to do eye test, Notre Dame's playing better than Miami?
I'm saying when you look at the conferences, the ACC. Let's answer this real quick.
Not in 100 years. No chance.
The ACC is the worst Power 4 conference.
And then Notre Dame's not even in a conference. So, again, you can't argue because Miami's not in. Notre Dame's not in one.
Okay, but Duke is making the conference championship.
Because of the tiebreaker. There's a 5-way tie. And they went to the strength of the
schedule
they play.
That's on their own conference for now. Miami should be playing this weekend.
Absolutely. So it's not.
Miami can't really do anything about that.
I know, but that's why I'm saying the ACC should be more to blame than the committee. They could have
won their games and then this all be solved, right? They could have won an extra game against the Louisville or SMU that we mentioned.
But see, them scheduling Notre Dame saved them because if they would have played Cupcake U the first week of the season.
But it wouldn't have mattered because they won a conference loss, right?
Well, but I'm saying that win over Notre Dame would put them in it gives them that extra, one up.
Yeah. And I know we're going to talk about BYU, but I'm wondering what happens if they have 2 losses because their streak to schedule is better than all these teams as
BYU should be in. Their lone losses to a top 4 team. And they've beat 2 ranked opponents.
Schedule,
that's still ranked. They've beat Cincinnati.
They should be over a lot of these.
They've beat Cincinnati. They've beat Arizona.
We'll talk about that topic on the other side. Alabama and BYU, are they locked into the college football playoff heading into conference championship week? We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
For over 3 years, Crumble Cookies has served the Knoxville area, from Clinton Highway to Parkside Drive. Even our friends out in Maryville have reached you, our fans, with the best cookies in the game. This fall, Crumble is gearing up for yet another fantastic season. Whether you're tailgating or looking for a pick-me-up after getting the kids from school, Crumble has you covered. Download the Crumble app to check out this week's rewards and features. And stop on by. Tell them Fan Run sent you, but don't miss the cookies.
Ball fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeehaw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues. Every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
All right, back here on the Playbook presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you hanging out with us. So I'm reading during the break. So apparently the story with Legend Bay, who just flipped back to Tennessee. Bay was wearing Ohio State clothes this morning and was saying that Brian Hartline was his guy and all this stuff, but saying that he was a Buckeye. Apparently he wants to go to Ohio State, but the parents want him to go to Tennessee. And since he's under 18, his parents had to sign off on it or something like that.
Sounds like a mess. Sounds like another family thing.
So he's going. So he signed to Tennessee, but I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be blurring that out. I'm reading that on message boards, but
it's hard to trust those things sometimes.
I know.
Let's
so
a reliable source.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
Everything we put out here is
sounds like he wants Ohio State, but
correct. So I don't want to start that narrative.
Yeah, let's not do that. It's a touchy subject.
I know. I just was reading it during the break.
No, you're good.
It caught my eye. We'll switch back to college football, though. and talk about these bubble teams. So yesterday we talked Miami and Notre Dame. Today we will debate Alabama and BYU. Are they already locked into the field? So last night the college football playoff rankings come out. Not much of a change towards the top 15 teams. I will say, shout out to my Mean Green. They're ahead of JMU, as they should be. And I've projected that for weeks. I've had North Texas in my top 25 ahead of – I just put JMU in this week. This is the first time I've ever had JMU in. But I've had North Texas in for 3 weeks now. And the AP poll continued to have JMU as the highest ranked highest ranked like group of 5
have Tennessee
winner.
out?
I did. I took
okay.
No, I think I had Tennessee at 24.
Wow. Okay.
I think I had Tennessee at 24. There's not any good team. Hey, tell me who else I should have put in. Iowa. I debated between Iowa.
You had Georgia Tech over Tennessee.
I couldn't believe they had Houston in the top 25 last night.
Yeah, Houston is kind of crazy.
I mean, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if they're a top 25 team.
Let me find it. I had JMU at 25, Tennessee at 24, Georgia Tech 23, Arizona 22. I mean, if Tennessee and JMU lined up, who wins that game?
Hopefully us.
Probably about 14 plus.
I hope. I don't have much confidence in our team right now.
So Alabama and BYU, though, we got a call about it earlier. Alabama moves up to number 9, jumps Notre Dame, BYU at 11. Both those teams are in the conference championships this week. I think with a win or a loss, Alabama has solidified themselves as a team that is going to be in the college football playoff. Now, the style and how they lose, I think, is interesting, but this is a team that went to Georgia not too long ago and got a win. So they'd be 1-1. I mean, I know it's a neutral site right at the end of the season, but I mean, Alabama does have a win against that team on the road earlier this year. BYU, to me, is a fraud. They've been frauds, and I don't think they believe or deserve to be in the playoff. Their method of winning is very similar to Oklahoma. I don't think their offense is.
They're better in Oklahoma.
Well, their method of winning is what I'm saying is very similar. Their defense is good. I will give credit where credit's due. That's a very good defense.
They put up points
against TCU. Against BYU, against Utah, they were outgained for much of that one, and Utah just, went 1 of 3 on 4th down, 1 of 3 in the red zone, had an opportunity to take points. They decided not to. Again, BYU's defense is good, but I don't trust Bear Bachmeier to park my car. And I think LJ Martin is a good running back that is going to get bottled up by good defenses as he has. Texas Tech ran him off the field a month ago. And that was the best team they played.
Mm-hmm.
I think Utah is overrated. Utah has continued to play with their own food. Utah's had back-to-back fire drills with Kansas teams. I know it's an impressive win, having a top 15 win over Utah, but
yeah,
I think if it comes down to it, if it comes down to Notre Dame, Miami, and BYU, I go in that order of who I'd put in. I don't think BYU is in the college football playoff right now, regardless of what happens this weekend. Garrett, your take.
I mean, I'm in the minority with this take, but I'm kind of the opposite with everything. I think BYU has 2 wins. I think they have a win. I mean, they have a win over a Cincinnati team that was ranked. They have a win over a Utah team that's still ranked. And then they have the win over, who's their 3rd ranked win that's still ranked now?
I don't think they have one.
No, they do. They have 2 ranked wins right now of teams. On top of that,
they beat Arizona.
They beat Arizona. Yeah, Arizona and Utah are still ranked. Their only loss is on the road to a team that could potentially win the national championship. I know you're high on Texas Tech. They're a legitimate national title contender. That's their only loss. They're playing them again in the conference title game. They made the conference championship in their division, which is something that Miami failed to do. I would put them in the college football playoff before Miami and Notre Dame. I would go BYU, Miami, and then Notre Dame because Miami beat Notre Dame in head-to-head.
If BYU gets run off the field this weekend, which they will.
They won't.
Well, they will. 12.5-point favor on neutral site field. Tell me they're not going to get run off the field. If they get run off the field, are they still in the college football playoff?
If they get run off the field, then I would maybe put Miami in, but I wouldn't put Notre Dame in.
Okay, Brett, you
Garrett said it all for me there. You've doubted BYU all season long, and they've done nothing but shut you up. And you continue to hate on this team.
They shut me up when Texas Tech ran off the
stats, the
field.
metrics, everything say they've had a tougher schedule than Notre Dame and Miami. And if you're good at defense, who cares? Like Oklahoma's
winning
really
the
good at
games.
They're winning the games. Teams win different ways.
Oklahoma is winning games, but do you think Oklahoma's
BYU is way better than Oklahoma? I think they're a better version of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma
barely scored 7, barely beat LSU.
Oklahoma has the same type of resume as BYU, but has the more impressive win and went on the road and beat Alabama, unlike BYU, who got run off the field against Texas Tech on the road.
BYU beat everybody on their schedule outside of Texas Tech, though.
I mean, Oklahoma, pretty much has as well.
Except they have 2 losses.
I mean, Oklahoma lost to Texas by 20
we can't
points.
argue. We can't argue like Oklahoma. They're going to be in no matter what.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, BYU is a good football team. They're better than Notre Dame, and they're better than
BYU's
Miami.
not better than Notre Dame. That's a lie. BYU.
They have a better resume. They have 2 ranked wins that are still ranked, and they've beat 3 ranked teams that were ranked at the time.
Yeah.
Notre Dame has a win over USC. Their second win would have been, in Pitt, that we're giving credit for Miami for beating.
And I'm not wrong. BYU gave Texas Tech at least 3 of their scores by turnovers, right?
BYU couldn't even move the ball.
A drop punt.
BYU could not move the ball that
BYU
game.
dropped a punt and then had a pick 6 early on.
And Texas Tech could have won 42-7, but got held to a bunch of field goals. And that's, again, a very good BYU defense. I'm not giving that away. But BYU could barely move the ball against them. The offense, Bachmeier's an issue.
I mean, the beautiful part, they get to play this weekend. But I think that at 11-2, they deserve every right.
11-2 is 11-2 BYU.
They're going to knock them for losing to the top 4 team, a team with a bye right now in the playoff.
If you make a conference championship in the Big 12, the SEC, or the Big 10, you should be in the college football playoff no matter what.
But I don't think we've ever had a year like this where you have this many really good teams around that bubble.
But if you start looking at the strength of schedule and the strength of record, they basically, Notre Dame might slightly have a little bit better strength of record, but their strength of schedule, is inflated because they played Miami and because they played Texas A&M. I understand Texas A&M's already in the playoffs, but they lost to Miami, and Miami lost to Louisville and SMU.
If BYU weren't in their conference championship, they'd have an argument still to even get in 11-1. Said we're going to knock them for losing the Big 12 championship. That's wrong.
But I would point at the other teams behind them. I think Miami's a better team than BYU. I think Notre Dame's a better team than BYU.
If we were to flip the scenario and Miami was hypothetically in the Big 12 and or Miami was 11-1 and their one loss was to Virginia, who's playing in the ACC title, would this be different? Because I feel like a lot of people are just saying BYU didn't deserve it because they're in the Big 12, and they're saying the Big 12 is not a good. The Big 12 has been better than the ACC this season.
And that's not saying much. ACC is terrible, but
I would just still lean them over Notre Dame and Miami.
Okay, so Alabama. We'll get that out of the way and we'll continue BYU. Is Alabama in regardless of this weekend? I think them moving up in the poll says yes. Would you guys agree with that?
Strength of record, BYU 6th in the country. They're behind Indiana, Ohio State, A&M, Oregon, and Georgia. They got the 35th strength of schedule. They've played a tough schedule and they've won games.
I don't disagree, but I watch these games every week. I just don't see it with BYU like I see it with Notre Dame or Miami. Like Miami hadn't played great football over the last 7 games, but I think they're a better team. And my whole argument, my whole philosophy with the college football playoff is I want the 12 best teams. I don't like and I know it's a part of
BYU is one of the 12 best teams.
I know you can throw it in the criteria and say this is what they look at, blah, blah, blah. I don't think BYU is one of the 12 best teams. I don't.
That's crazy.
I think their defense is most definitely a top warranting a top 12.
Bachmeier's numbers are just as good as CJ Carr.
Bachmeier,
their offensive 12 touchdowns.
Their offensive they don't have a passing game against a credible opponent.
So then Oklahoma's not a top 12.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But Oklahoma at least has the resume building win to where they went on the road at Alabama and got the win.
But you were sitting here arguing that they're not a playoff team.
BYU didn't even look like a team that belonged to the field against
Texas
Texas
Tech.
Tech.
Oklahoma's not a playoff team, right?
No. They are a playoff team.
Their offense is bad.
They're not a playoff. They are a playoff team because they went on the road and have a signature win, and beating an Alabama team that's going to be in the field. BYU had the same opportunity, the same type of offensive issues and defensive strengths as Oklahoma, but instead of going on the road and beating Texas Tech, they could barely get past the 50-yard line.
Is Texas Tech in if they lose?
Hell yes.
Why?
Texas Tech has looked the part.
But they lost.
Texas Tech.
What have they done differently than BYU?
They have crushed every team
their
they
defense
played.
Is good. Their offense isn't
They've
great.
crushed every team they played, and the only loss they have on their resume is with a backup quarterback playing.
I'm just saying, they're both very similar.
I don't see how you can keep out an 11-1 going into the conference title game. Like an 11-1. I'll even call it the Power 3 for right now of the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10. How can you keep out an 11-1 team in the regular season whose loss is to the number 4 team in the country?
I'm saying if they get run off the field again this weekend, they're out.
I just don't see them getting run off the field. But
they're 12.5-point favorites.
They lost to Arizona State. Is that a good loss?
With a backup quarterback.
But your team, though, right?
And also Arizona State. That was back when
BYU beat Arizona State.
Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson still played, and when Tyson and Leavitt weren't available, they were a completely different team. Those are two of the best players in the conference.
They don't want 2 Big 12 teams for some reason. I don't know, because the way they've ranked.
My whole philosophy is I want the 12 best teams,
and they don't do that ever. They won't do it this year.
I don't. What's the point of the Big 12 even? At that point, you just look at the teams on their statistics and go, oh, this team's better. They got better players. They should be in. Winning games has to matter.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but I'm saying they had the same type of opportunity as a similar team in Oklahoma. Oklahoma went on the road and beat them. They went on the road and beat an Alabama. BYU didn't even look like they belonged on the field. Couldn't even get past the 50-yard line. The offense
lost a good we're not arguing Texas Tech's not a good football team.
I know.
We're arguing BYU's a good football team that won all their games outside of losing to a top 5 team on the road.
Cincinnati is not as good of a group.
You picked Cincinnati to win that game. You picked TCU to win that game.
I know.
You picked them against them all week.
Because they're frauds.
All they did smash people.
Because they're frauds.
My goodness, they're not frauds. They're 11-1.
They didn't smash Cincinnati. There was a
26-14
2-possession game.
That's pretty good for a bad football team on the road.
I agree. Look, they have
a guy named Barry Bachmeier, since we're holding that against him.
They have shut me up for the most part, but I'm not done.
You got Morton Salt out there, whatever.
Baron Morton, a better quarterback with one leg than Bachmeier is with 3 legs?
That's
yes.
debatable. That's debatable.
Baron Morton's a better quarterback
We never
than
talk
Barry
about
Bachmeier.
Baron Morton. You always talk about this linebacker.
Jacob Rodriguez. He's not that just this linebacker. Jacob Rodriguez deserves to be in New York City.
Man, I don't know.
Wrapping things up when we return. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
At Knoxville Insurance Group, they understand the challenges many consumers face when searching for insurance coverage. That's why whether it's for you, your family, or your business, they create a coverage plan specifically for your unique needs. Knoxville Insurance Group is an independent firm, which means they aren't beholden to just one insurance company. They search multiple companies, acting as your negotiator to find you the best possible policy and price. Start a quote in minutes at KnoxvilleInsuranceGroup.com or call them today at 865-694-9788.
Citizens National Bank.
Kick off this football season with a CNB Plus Perks checking account. Move downfield with free online and mobile banking. And cross the goal line with extended evening hours and Saturday banking. Banking at CNB has its perks. Find out more at cnbtn.com.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Are you ready to make your dream home a reality? Hi,
I'm Bo Kregner, and here at the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, we know that finding the perfect home is more than just a transaction. It's about finding your sanctuary, your future, your happiness. Our team is dedicated to guiding you every step of the way, ensuring a smooth and stress-free journey towards home ownership. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we're here to help. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or just visit us online at bonowshouses.com.
The following radio theater is brought to you by Men's Pro Knoxville.
Hey, Dad, can we play football?
No, buddy.
All right.
Pops, want to work out?
Maybe later.
Hey, kids are in bed. What you up to?
Tomorrow?
You've got one life, and it's too short for not nows, maybe laters, and tomorrows. If you have ED and performance issues, your family, friends, and even your career has already been affected. Book your discreet evaluation at Men's Pro Knoxville and turn your tomorrows into
today.
Yes! Touchdown!
Come on, one more, Dad.
Today!
Push, Dad. One more. Come on, push.
Hey, kids are in bed. What you up to?
Tonight.
Call 865-544-8220 or book now in under 30 seconds at menspronknoxville.com. Men's Pro Knoxville, for every man in every season of life.
All right, wrapping things up on a Wednesday edition of the Playbook. College football playoff debates always get people going. It always does. Hey, I will say, during the break, looking on Twitter,
yeah,
the Big 12 championship game is a sellout and is expected to be the biggest crowd in Big 12 championship history. All of that to see a funeral.
Where is that game?
AT&T Stadium. I think so. That's at 12 o'clock Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll know who's out of the playoff by 3 o'clock, 3:30.
It's just a shame.
It's not. The college football playoff should
They're
not.
better off not making it.
Here, my fundamental issue with the college football playoff is we get into the who is most deserving versus who is the best. Who would you rather have, the most deserving team or the best team or the better team?
The better team.
And you think BYU is better than Notre Dame?
I think they're better than a lot of teams in that top 10.
Name them.
All right, well, OU. I think Ole Miss. Oregon.
Stop it. Stop.
How many do you think?
Stop.
You don't think they're a top 25 team, clearly.
BYU.
Where did you have them?
I had them at hold on.
How many teams do you think they'd beat, Garrett? Any of them?
I mean, I just don't like the hypothetical game of would they beat this team or would they not beat this team. Their only loss is the Texas Tech, who's the 4th ranked team in the country. They're handled business
one of the best 12.
on the rest of their schedule. It shouldn't be what hypothetically would they do. They did what they were supposed to do with their schedule that was put in front of them. Miami didn't do what they were supposed to do. They lost to SMU and they lost to Louisville.
I have BYU at 13.
So you have them right, fringe playoff team.
Well, the options after like 16 get kind of bare.
Mm-hmm.
I had Alabama ahead of Notre Dame originally, even though I had that last week. I just think Alabama's win is better.
I was surprised they jumped them for being.
Well, I agree.
Auburn team.
This week, I agree. I had Alabama with a better win. That's why I had them originally. But I had Vanderbilt at 11. I think Vanderbilt's got a better resume than people are giving them.
Vanderbilt doesn't have a win over a team their best win is Tennessee, who didn't beat a team over with a 500 record all season.
Vanderbilt has gone on the road. They've done it. This is consistent with what I've had though. Like I think Texas got a big win this weekend, but I have a hard time. I can't put them over other 2-loss teams, so I had them at 14.
I hope I'm texting you come Saturday about 2
Please
o'clock,
do,
man.
Texas Tech, belt to ass Saturday. That's going to wrap it up for a Wednesday edition of the Playbook. We appreciate you listening along with us. Brett Hollander, Garrett Armbrust, and Jackson Freeman. I'm William Pattison. We'll be back same time tomorrow, 1 to 3, right here on Fan Run Radio. Coming up next, it's The Drive.